Hello everyone, Keir Smith here, back with another video, and for today's video we're going to be looking at U2's acclaimed album from the year 2000, All That You Can't Leave Behind. In an otherwise excellent back catalogue, this album by U2 is one that I've always had an awkward relationship with. I've never really seen what all the fuss is about. Now, I'm a big fan of the band, I have all of their studio albums, and this album was huge at the time and hailed as a return to form after their more experimental 3-album run of Achtung Baby, Zooropa and Pop. But with those albums, the band embarked on huge tours to sell out crowds with dazzling live shows full of theatrical twists and turns, as well as some rather questionable outfits. But personally, I love that run of albums. I thought each of them were both musically and artistically interesting. But when I listen to All That You Can't Leave Behind, I don't hear that. I think it's a rather bland album, U2 by numbers if you will. Maybe they felt that they'd experimented enough or taken it as far as they wanted to and decided to go back to what they felt they were better or best at. It seems to me that the band made a deliberate and considered approach to making this album and almost reverted to type, deciding to get back to the songwriting craft that we maybe heard on albums like The Joshua Tree. This here is Q Magazine from November 2000, which runs a feature on the band and has various interviews with the 4 members in the lead up to the release of All That You Can't Leave Behind. It says on the cover there, "Trust them, they've come to save rock and roll." And there's a picture here inside the cover with a quote from Bono saying, "Rock has gotten lazy, but this is big music and it's a big fight for us." Big music? Well, it's certainly big talk. Let's run through the album now and I'll give you my considered opinion. The album opens with the lead single, Beautiful Day, which was a #1 hit in the UK, a huge success and a fantastic song. I remember going out and buying it the first day of its release and I love it. It's got the quiet verse, the loud chorus, a trick that always works well in rock music, I think. I really like the synth strings here and it's got that soaring quality that goes into the big anthemic chorus. It's great. The second single, Stuck in a Moment You Can't Get Out Of, is next, and I wasn't mad on this back then, but when I listened to the album again recently, this is better than I remember. This soulful ballad has a low-key arrangement, but a nice enough song. Bono sings it well, really nice chorus, and I like the lyrics too, where Bono sings, "I will not forsake the colours that you bring, but the nights you filled with fireworks, they left you with nothing." Apparently written about fallen INXS star Michael Hutchence. And again, this was another popular single for the band. I think it got as high as #2 in the UK, if I remember right. And I rather enjoyed it when I listened to it again recently, so I'll say that this is a good song. This album was front loaded with singles, and Elevation is next, which was the 3rd single from the album. This electronic funk track could easily have fit on Pop or Zooropa, maybe even Achtung Baby. But for me, this song would not have fit onto any of those albums. I've never liked this song. The music's not bad, but that whooping that Bono does throughout the song always irritated me. And the lyrics, especially in the chorus, are terrible. A mole, living in a hole, digging up my soul, going down, excavation, I and I, in the sky, you make me feel like I can fly, so high, elevation. And that bridge section before the final chorus always seemed forced to me, like it didn't really belong in the song, they simply shoved it in there. Where Bono sings, "Love, lift me up out of these blues, won't you tell me something true, I believe in you." I didn't like the song, but again, Elevation was another popular single for the band. And the band also recorded a different version for the film Tomb Raider, which frankly was even worse. But the band won me round very quickly with the next song, Walk On, the 4th and final single to be released from the album. I loved it back then, I still love it now. I think it's a great song and it always reminded me of One from Achtung Baby, you know, that type of song. I really like Larry Mullen's drums here, in particular the sound he gets from them. The Edge plays a really neat guitar solo, the song has a great chorus, and again it's U2 at their anthemic best. Kite is next, and this is both wistful and wonderful. I love that synth sample that opens the song and that descending, groaning slide guitar. And Bono's vocal melody and his impassioned delivery is great, and I really like the lyrics here too, where he sings, "'Cause hardness, it sets in. You need some protection, the thinner the skin." And although his vocal sounds a little bit strange when he sings, "I'm a man, I'm not a child," it works for me. I love it. I think it's a great song. My favourite song on the album. In a Little While is next, and this is nice enough. It's a decent melodic guitar pattern, but it doesn't hold my attention. And Bono gives us this strained vocal with a soulful ache to it. Wild Honey is next, and this is hardly strong material, but it has a breezy pop charm to it, which I really like. The Edge's charming guitar is simple but very effective, and this is relaxed, easy with a nice sing-along chorus too. I like it. Peace on Earth is next, and this is okay, it's alright, but I expect a lot more from U2 if I'm honest. The Edge plays some nice melodic guitar lines on this track, and I must say, save for one or two songs, the Edge's guitars on this album as a whole are very clean. I do like the lyrics in the final verse where Bono sings, "Jesus, this song you wrote, the words are sticking in my throat, peace on earth, hear it every Christmas time, but hope and history won't rhyme, so what's it worth, this peace on earth?" But largely, I've got to say, it's a rather dull affair and, again, doesn't really hold my attention. And that's followed by the song, "When I Look at the World." Now, the opening lyrics to this song go, "When you look at the world, what is it that you see? People find all kinds of things that bring them to their knees." Now, I think Bono is a fantastic lyricist, but I heard that and I thought, that's dull. And the song goes on and it's simply a bit of a dirge for me. And it's a pedestrian performance by the band, a band that can deliver and have delivered so much in the past. It's not like it's an awful song, but Peace on Earth and When I Look at the World are both a little bit dull and uninspired for me. New York is next, and this is most welcome. It adds a bit of pace and a bit of punch to the proceedings. I like that buried in the mixed drum loop here, and again it has that quiet verse leading to that blast on the distortion pedal for the loud, rousing chorus. And Bono sings of people from all countries and all walks of life, all coming to live in New York and loving life. And he's also kind enough to give us a weather update here as he sings, "In New York, summers get hot, well into the hundreds, hot as a hairdryer in your face," which always amuses me. And I'm sure that this song would have delighted American U2 fans everywhere when they played it on the following Elevation tour. So maybe it was a considered approach, maybe a little contrived, but why not? It's a good song. And so the album ends with the song Grace. Now, there is a bonus track on this CD, which I'll get to in a minute, but that bonus track was only made available to fans in the UK, Japan and Australia, if I remember right. So for the rest of the world, the album ends with Grace. But for me, Grace is another limp effort. If this was a car, it would be stuck firmly in first gear. It offers so little, a slight synth melody, gentle guitar work, but I struggle to remember anything good about it. It's fairly deep stuff. Bono sings about grace being a thought that changed the world and makes references to karma, and it just doesn't do anything for me. I never much like the lyrics here either, where Bono sings, "No champagne flute for her lips, no twirls or skips between her fingertips." I'm sure I'm missing the message here, but again, I just thought it was a rather dull affair, and for the best part of the world, a pretty dull ending to the album. Having said that, I bet there are many fans that find this profoundly beautiful. So being from the UK, my copy of the CD album ends with the song "The Ground Beneath Her Feet." And apparently the band argued for a long time as to whether or not this song should be included on the album, but common sense prevailed and it was included because this is a great song. The music for this song is by U2, but the lyrics are by Salman Rushdie, but it's a great combination. It works. I love that slow keyboard riff that opens the song. It sounds like a church organ. Bono's vocal is great here, and the song builds and Bono's vocal gets grittier as the song goes on. I really like that bit where he sings, "Go lightly down your darkened way, go lightly underground. I'll be down there in another day. I won't rest until you're found." The Edge plays a great piercing guitar solo at the end, which I really like. Larry Mullen's drums are a bit more urgent. Bono does some ad-libbing and yeah, it works. It's a great song. But this song had already been released a couple of years earlier on some soundtrack, I believe, so I can see why the band maybe debated as to whether it should be on the album. So I guess it is a bonus track in the truest sense. But as it is a bonus track, I therefore don't consider it to be part of the album, which is a shame because it makes for a much better finale than Grace. So that's U2's All That You Can't Leave Behind. Now, commercially, it was a huge success. 12 million albums sold, #1 in 20 countries, I believe. Some critics were hailing it as the band's third masterpiece after The Joshua Tree and Achtung Baby. And part of the album's big success would no doubt be down to those 4 big hit singles, those first 4 songs on the album. But for me, and being a big fan of U2, this album seemed like a backward step to me. Like I said, I was a big fan of that run of albums, Achtung Baby, Zooropa and Pop, and this lacked that daring quality that those 3 previous albums had. With All That You Can't Leave Behind, it's as if U2 were here to remind us that they could write simple songs that everyone would like. And this album was produced with Brian Eno and Daniel Lanois, who have not only done great work with U2, but many other artists too. But their production to me seems slight and relatively simple. There's some good songs here, don't get me wrong, but nothing to really get me excited about. It's not a bad album, but like I said at the start, I've never seen what all the fuss is about. There's a good 6 or 7 albums in U2's back catalogue that I would put firmly above All That You Can't Leave Behind. But what do you think? Am I being too harsh, overcritical? Probably, but U2 set high standards, but let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. I appreciate it, and I'll see you for my next video sometime soon. Bye for now.